3 cabinet nominees. And these nominees, Honorable Speaker, are not new in the public service. The Honorable Mutahi Kagwe has been a minister right from the Kibaki time when he served as minister for 2 years as minister for ICT, or what was then the Ministry of Communications and Information and Communication, Honorable Speaker. He then served as Minister for Health at a very challenging time during the COVID outbreak, Honorable Speaker. And many Kenyans will remember the Honorable Mutahi Kagwe as a COVID-era minister. And he cut his niche, especially with his very good communication skills, always updating the country on the status of the pandemic in the country, Honorable Speaker. And I remember my own daughter, who was then only 2 years old, whenever he saw either CS Muturi Kagwe or the then CAS, Dr. Masi Mwangangi, she would tell me, COVID. And in my house, Muturi Kagwe was christened the COVID minister. But he did a splendid job during that time, Honorable Speaker, and I'm glad that some of the issues that bedeviled his term, part of it being the COVID billionaire scandal, he was able to be confronted with those questions during the vetting process and adequately or sufficiently answered all the issues that pertained to that time, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm saying this because all the other nominees, the Honorable William Kabogo Getao is the first governor of Kiambu County, Honorable Speaker. The Honorable Lee Kinyanjui is the second governor of Nakuru County. Honorable Speaker, as much as these two gentlemen never made it back to serve their second terms, during their terms as governors, there are things you could see both in Kiambu County, where I come from, and I say this, Honorable Speaker, knowing that I had run-ins with the Honorable Kabogo when he was governor for Kiambu. And it was nothing ever personal, it was all in the course of business in politics, Honorable Speaker. But I can say today, so far, of all the governors who have served the county of Kiambu in terms of performance, William Getao Kabogo ranks #1 in terms of performance. Second is Governor Nyoro. Of course, the current governor and Governor Waitito, I can't even begin to rank them, Honorable Speaker. The Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, Honorable Speaker, midwifed. I don't know who that is. The Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, Lee Mayan Kinyanjui.
Yes, Junet. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker.
Give him the mic.
Mr. Speaker, is it in order for the majority leader to become a pollster and say that, to mislead the House that Governor Kabogo was the best, when he knows that there is a sitting governor here in the county now who's serving the county called Governor Wamatangi? And when I asked him about him, he told me, I don't know that one. Mr. Speaker, when did that change? And has Mr. Wamatangi left being the governor of Kiambu, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, let's be fair. Mr. Kabogo might have done a good job, but Mr. Wamatangi, can you tell us something about Mr. Wamatangi?
Honorable Speaker, I hear my leader of minority, and Honorable Speaker, you know, I am speaking about the nominees in this list. And there are two governors, Governor Kabogo and Governor Lee Mayani Kinyanjui. And therefore, I also said, having knowledge and being a constituent in Kiambu County, I am capable of ranking, not as a pollster, the performance in terms of output and actual performance on delivery of services to the people of Kiambu County. And Governor Getao Kabogo William ranks #1 so far. Governor Wamatangi has time, he's the current governor. He is now competing with Governor Waitito in terms of who will perform better. But so far, Governor Kabogo and Governor Nyoro have done exceptionally well. Honorable Speaker, and you can ask anybody from Kiambu County, they will vindicate me. I'll stand vindicated by the people of Kiambu. The people of Nakuru County also vindicate me when I say, Honorable Speaker, and Kenyans know that Governor Lee Kinyanjui midwifed the ascension of Nakuru County from a municipality into the city that Nakuru County is today. And these are not people, as I said, Honorable Speaker, who are new to public service. They are seasoned politicians, seasoned public officers, and I want to pray and hope that when they take over their offices, whether it is Mutahi Kagwe in the Ministry of Agriculture, whether it is Lee Kinyanjui in the Ministry of Trade and Industry, whether it is Gitau Kabogo in the Ministry of ICT, Honorable Speaker, that they will serve all the people of this country with the dedication and commitment that we have seen them serve in the various other capacities that they have served the nation in, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are challenges, both in ICT, Honorable Speaker, with the rollout of the fiber optic cable and ensuring what the Honorable Pukose said during the vetting process, to ensure that the far-flung corners and districts of our country are also connected to the internet, Honorable Speaker. And Governor Kabogo, or now CS nominee Kabogo, if approved by this House, has a challenge to ensure that every corner of this country, Honorable Speaker, has internet accessibility, not just to ensure that people are getting government services through e-Citizen, Honorable Speaker, but also to ensure that Kenyans who are telling that you can finya computer upate dollar can able to work online from any corner of this country. You do not need to be in an urban area to be able to access internet services, Honorable Speaker, but even those in Elwak, those in Karachuonyo, those in far-flung corners of Turkana County, Honorable Speaker, can also be able to access internet services. And I am happy during the vetting process, Governor Kabogo was able to articulate that in those far-flung areas where they cannot be able to get accessibility through the fiber optic cable, he will explore new technology like the Starlink technology that is there to ensure that people are able to access internet connectivity and jobs, Honorable Speaker, and also create some sanity within the digital space, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Mutahi Kagwe has his work cut out, Honorable Speaker, and I'm happy that during the vetting process he was able to very well articulate the challenges that bedevil our agricultural sector, the connectivity between productivity in the agricultural sector, access to markets, and making agriculture profitable to farmers. And Honorable Speaker, I am glad that he was able to articulate how he will work and be able to make agriculture profitable, ensure that our country is food secure, and ensure that our farmers access markets, not just for their tea, coffee, milk, pyrethrum, even potato farmers or sugarcane farmers, Honorable Speaker, that are able to access markets and access good prices for their produce, Honorable Speaker. I pray, as I challenge the Honorable Mutahi Kagwe during the vetting, that he will not be swallowed by the cartels that have swallowed even other bigger people, not just in that ministry, but even in bigger offices, Honorable Speaker. You know there are people who are given the responsibility in this country to midwife the access to markets for our coffee farmers and our tea farmers. But they went and became cartels themselves, Honorable Speaker. We have had tales, Honorable Speaker, in this country where somebody was demanding 3 shillings per kilogram of coffee being exported or being sold out of this country. I want to pray that the Honorable Mutahi Kagwe will serve with the diligence that he served in the ministries that he served before in this agriculture ministry, and with the integrity that we have seen him serve with before. The Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, my good friend from Nakuru County, as I said, did well in Nakuru County, but now he has his work cut out for him. Trade and industry, Honorable Speaker, and the State Department for Investments now fall on his shoulders. And he has rather broad shoulders, and I want to believe that those shoulders of Lee Kinyanjui will be able to carry this ministry to the next level where it ought to be. Honorable Speaker, it is shameful that 20 years ago, or even less than 20 years ago, our country was leading in terms of our percentage of manufacturing as a percentage of our GDP. Kenya in the region, not just in East Africa, but in East, Central, and almost Southern Africa, with the exception of Botswana and South Africa, Kenya had the highest percentage in terms of manufacturing contribution to our GDP. But today, Honorable Speaker, neighboring countries like Uganda, that were largely importing manufactured goods from Kenya, are ahead of us. If you look at the 2023 statistics, Honorable Speaker, Uganda's manufacturing industry has grown to contribute at least 15.65% to their GDP, whereas Kenya's is at a level of 7%. about 7.3%. Almost, actually half, or less than half, that of Uganda. When and how Uganda overtook us in manufacturing, Honorable Speaker, is a challenge that Lee Kinyanjui has to reverse that. There is no sector that can create more jobs than the manufacturing sector, Honorable Speaker. And I want to believe with the increased productivity in agriculture, with the good technology and technical skills amongst the youth in this country, Honorable Speaker, if we are able to leverage on that, Honorable Speaker, it is possible then to grow industries and manufacturing that will grow, increase our GDP, Honorable Speaker, and also increase our manufacturing sector's contribution to our GDP almost threefold to at least 20%, Honorable Speaker. We have stagnated about 7% for the last almost 10, 12 years. And time is nigh, Honorable Speaker, and I want to believe that the Honorable Lee Kinyanjui has what it takes. And I have confidence that these three cabinet secretaries, Honorable Speaker, have what it takes to move us to where we want to be as a nation. And in terms of implementing the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Honorable Speaker, I know there are issues, and I want to note that there are memoranda that were filed before the Appointments Committee, which we all considered. The nominees were given this memoranda, and they responded to them. And one of the salient issues in this memoranda was the question of two-thirds gender rule, Honorable Speaker. And as members know, and it's good to inform the country, that we look at the cabinet composition in its totality, not these three nominees. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, in terms of adherence to that two-thirds gender rule, we are doing well, and I want to believe, because there are still slots that are available in the cabinet, to ask the President, His Excellency President William Ruto, that is in his next appointments, to ensure that there are at least both genders, not just one gender, to ensure that we truly conform to the two-thirds gender rule. But as we are, Honorable Speaker, even without the full composition of cabinet, we have done well with at least 6 cabinet secretaries, including the Attorney General, as ladies, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in terms of regional balance, it is true, Honorable Speaker, and there are issues that were raised that these 3 nominees, again, hail from one region. And it's true, Honorable Speaker, they all hail from one region. But again, we look at the totality of the composition of cabinet in totality, and you will see that it goes very well with our population numbers. The representation of our communities and various regions in cabinet is well represented, Honorable Speaker. And that also, Speaker, should shut those who, Honorable Speaker, have been intent on inciting the people of this region where these members come from. I know, Honorable Speaker, there are those who have said that Mount Kenya region was being represented in cabinet by people who are not known. But there are people and Kenyans who also deserve to serve in cabinet, Honorable Speaker. And some of those people, like Dr. Andrew Karanja, you remember when he was appointed, with a very good CV, and I'm glad the President has given him an opportunity to go and serve the country in Brazil, and all the other cabinet secretaries who had been appointed earlier, Honorable Speaker, and who are capable and can serve in other capacities. These 3 gentlemen, the Honorable Mutahi Kagwe, the Honorable William Kabogo, and the Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, are not coming in to serve the people of Mount Kenya. Agriculture is not in Mount Kenya. ICT is not in Mount Kenya alone. Neither is trade and industry or investments. These are dockets where they are coming to serve all the people of Kenya as cabinet secretaries. And I want to encourage them to serve the people of Kenya without any regard to the regions they come from, to serve people fairly and equally. Consider the people of Marsabit in agriculture, whether it is in their pastoralist activities, in the livestock department, the State Department is under that ministry. Consider them as well as you consider the people of Othaya with their coffee, or the people of Kiambu in Limuru with their tea, or indeed the people of Kikuyu with our potatoes and small-scale farming, Honorable Speaker, because we live on 50 by hundreds. And of course, the people who are producing livestock, we are key stakeholders because we are also butchers in Dagoretti. And Honorable Speaker, I'm saying that so that all these cabinet secretaries come to serve us as Kenyans. and nobody should ever look at them on the basis of the regions where they come from. I know there are others who may have wanted and tempted even cabinet secretaries. And it is sad, Honorable Speaker, that today we even have cabinet secretaries who get tempted to playing to the public gallery, excite emotions on the basis of ethnicity and regions they come from, inciting communities against communities. And Honorable Speaker, it is sad. And I want to pray that these three gentlemen, because during the vetting process, they are able to show that they look at Kenya as one unitary state. They will serve the people of Kenya without regard to where anybody comes from or whatever language any Kenyan speaks, and serve them as Kenyans. I wish them all the best, Honorable Speaker, and I want to implore on all of us to approve these three cabinet secretaries so that cabinet may be not fully constituted, but at least those who are acting can now hand over, and hopefully the next cabinet meeting, they will have been sworn in and take over the service of serving Kenyans. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I want to request the Leader of Minority, the Honorable Junet Mohamed, who also sits in the Appointments Committee, to second the motion in agreement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Junet.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to second this motion for the adoption of the fourth report of the Committee on Appointment on the approval hearings of nominees for appointment as Cabinet Secretaries, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as the Majority Leader has alluded to, I sit the committee that is chaired by yourself of appointment and approval, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, through that, I interacted with the nominees, Mr. Speaker, the three cabinet nominees, secretary nominees, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I came to realize that people who go through elective positions, Mr. Speaker, people who are elected by the people of Kenya as MCAs, as members of parliament, as governors, Mr. Speaker, those are people who are really tried and tested. And those are people who really can show leadership when it is required, Mr. Speaker, compared to people who have not held elective positions, Mr. Speaker. And I'm not trying to say that because I've been elected several times. Mr. Speaker, these three nominees have shown immense knowledge. They have shown immense knowledge and experience, Mr. Speaker, in terms of handling public affairs. And why that happened is because some of them ran or managed some of the largest counties in the country, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Lee Kinyanjui was the governor of Nakuru. And Nakuru, Mr. Speaker, is one of the largest counties in the country, even in terms of population. That has given that man a lot of experience from what I saw when he appeared before the committee. Honorable Kabogo also, Mr. Speaker, has managed one of the largest counties. And as you can see, a member here, the Majority Leader, has testified that he has done a good job when he was the governor of that county. Mr. Speaker, that has given them a lot of experience. And the other nominee has been a cabinet secretary. He has been the senator of Nyeri. He has been a cabinet secretary at a very difficult time when this country had a pandemic, the coronavirus, Mr. Speaker, and he handled it very well. And the country saved, through that, a lot of lives were saved, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, that public service has impacted a lot of knowledge and experience on these three gentlemen, Mr. Speaker. I don't think they could have been better people to serve in these ministries than those people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you see, public service, Mr. Speaker, is a calling, and I've said that many times. And you should be able to do it so long as you've been given an opportunity, Majority Leader. But when you feel a time has come, and you feel that the executive that you are part of, and you feel that the president that you are serving, and the government that you are serving, is not incompatible, the policies or your belief at the moment, at this point in time, is not compatible with the government you are serving, the best thing to do, Mr. Speaker, is to resign. Don't bring commotions. Don't bring unnecessary fights within the government. Be a man enough and say, this is enough now. I don't think, the way you've said, I don't think what is happening now is not what I came to do. For that reason, I want to leave. It's only in African societies or in African democracies where somebody disagrees with the policies, disagrees with what's happening in a government, and he still wants to stay there. To do what? Somebody told me, an African man, if you give him the keys to the washrooms and tell him, can you use it and bring it back to me, he will put it in his pocket and tell you, no, you tell me when you need it is when I'll give you back. Mr. Speaker, only in African societies. Wamumbi, can you give us time? I want the majority leader to listen to what I'm saying. So if you no longer believe in what the government is doing and you're a cabinet secretary, just resign. You are not welded there like chuma, like an iron. You are not welded in government. Just leave. You know, the other time when we were impeaching the deputy president, somebody told me that he was asked, why can't you resign now that members of parliament have lost faith in you? A pastor in his home told him that you have been put there by God. You must remain there until you are removed by God. Now God spoke through angels to the members of parliament and they removed him. And God's work happened in this parliament, Mr. Speaker. Somebody told him that you are put there by God. Only God can remove you. Pana. God can remove you in many ways. Impeachment comes from God. Because by the time 300 members of parliament agree on something, it's the hand of God. It's the work of God. It's the voice of God. So, Mr. Speaker, if don't wait for God to come to your house to talk to you. If you think you cannot serve the government anymore, go do farming. Go do other things, Mr. Speaker. Or become something else. Become a professional. If you're a lawyer, go and open a law firm and serve the country that sphere, Mr. Speaker. Because you cannot be a cabinet secretary who is issuing contrary views to what your government is saying. It's immoral, actually. The other day I saw a good friend of mine, whom I learned a lot of things under him, who was sitting on the chair where Mr. Speaker is sitting, Mr. Speaker. And I learned everything I'm doing in this house under his, Mr. Speaker, under his supervision. And that's not what he taught me when he was a speaker. He told me, Junet, if you are tired of something, leave. But now the same person is now accusing the same people he's serving of many things, and he wants to remain there and stay there, Mr. Speaker. It only happens in Africa. It cannot happen. And targeting communities, targeting people of certain, community, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, is very unfair. And I am a leader now in this country. Because I'm a minority leader. That's a constitutional office under Article 108. If my son is arrested by police, I should also tell the country why my son was arrested. I can't just say my son was arrested by so and so. Give the reasons why he was arrested. And then why do you wait for 7 months so that you tell Kenyans why your son was arrested? Why don't you tell them the day he was released that my son was arrested, and then you drop names. You say I went to the president and the president told me that I called so and so. My friend, where is this secrecy of oath? It's called what? Oath of secrecy. Why can't you discuss things at that level with the people who are concerned? Now, if you have the opportunity to go and see the president, to go and see people who are high offices, Kenyans who cannot access those places, how are they going to be served? What kind of, as a leader, what kind of trend are you setting? That anybody who wants to get help must go there. We cannot run, a country cannot be run like that, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope these cabinet secretaries who are being approved in this house today will not behave in the same manner. Because, when that becomes now the modus operandi, Mr. Speaker, we will not have a cabinet. We don't need to waste our time in this house approving people who are going to defy the same government they want to go and serve. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that kind of manners should not be allowed in any society. Because you must be somebody who stands for something. If you strongly feel that what's happening is wrong, leave. People in mature democracies, they live even over something smaller than this. So, Mr. Speaker, coming back to the point, is that I want to say these three gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, whom we are approving today, are not also going to represent certain regions. Cabinet secretaries are appointed to serve the Republic of Kenya. Every Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, deserve their service, Mr. Speaker. If you are going to behave like the way people we have impeached, and then start talking about, you come to my constituency and you bring me salamu from your home, I will just chase you away. Mr. Speaker, dismissal of cabinet secretaries is not only the prerogative of the president. This House has constitutional mandate also to dismiss cabinet secretaries, the way we are approving them. So if you behave in a very tribalistic manner, you behave in an awkward manner, then nothing stops us from filing an impeachment motion and removing you from office, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you believed the people you are saying abducted your son, and in the Kenyans, and you took 7 months, Mr. Speaker, to tell Kenyans what happened, who will believe you now? Because, 7 months is a long period of time. I'm sorry to say, I called a police officer, under the privilege of the House. I was told people are arrested over many things. You can be arrested because you are dealing in drugs, you are dealing in money laundering. You can be arrested in many things. Arresting is not abduction. We have to condemn abduction, but we cannot condemn arresting. Yeah. Police officers are paid. They earn salaries so that they can arrest people. That's their work. If I break the law today, they will arrest me. But we must condemn abduction, but we cannot condemn arrest. Arrests are legal. They are legal in our laws for a policeman to arrest me and to arrest anybody else. Mr. Speaker, so I want to emphasize on the issue that cabinet secretaries must serve all Kenyans. If you want to serve your village, go and become an MCA. Don't become a minister or a chief. Like the way I see now, there's a senior chief now who's meeting people in Wamunyoro. Every day they are meeting there. You are now just local chief there, just meeting people there. You expect me to travel all the way from Nairobi to go and meet somebody in that village. What is the name of that village? Wamunyoro. I can't go, Mr. Speaker. So if you want to be like that, just go to your village. But if you want to serve Kenyans, if your desire is to serve Kenyans as a cabinet secretary, then serve all Kenyans, irrespective of their region, irrespective of their community, irrespective of their service, of religion.
Yes, member for Madira. Junet, do you want to be informed?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Especially from somebody from Wamunyoro village, Mr.
Yes.
Speaker.
I want to inform Honorable Junet that Wamunyoro is a very good village in Madera constituency. And in that village, there is a chief who is a very good man who serves people, all the people, in dignity. It is only one man, disgruntled, who is meeting people with long beards who don't know where they are going. So let's not discuss Wamunyoro. Wamunyoro is a good village. It's only one man who don't know where he is going or where he is coming from, who is disgruntled and he doesn't know where he is going or coming from. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Member of Parliament for Madeira for informing me that Wamunyoro is a very good place. I have not visited Wamunyoro yet. I need to pay a courtesy call to him so that I can see how good Wamunyoro is, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, why am I using Wamunyoro as an example? Mr. Speaker, I cannot travel from a place called Migori in Wothorumo or Wothogik all the way to Wamunyoro so that I can get government services. I must get government services nationally. The minister must come to my place in Gorjope so that he can serve me in Gorjope, not me to go to Wamunyoro, Mr. Speaker. That is why we retired someone to Wamunyoro. And I'm sending a warning to the cabinet secretaries that if you take the behavior of Wamunyoro, if you want to serve only Wamunyoro people, we will sack you. We will impeach you. You must serve all Kenyans. And if you want to serve only your local people, become an MCA. That's where local people, the ward where people are served, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, there are people who think they have become cabinet secretary to serve their region, or to serve their community, or to serve their tribesmen. No. Cabinet secretary is a national position. If you want to remain as a CS, you must remain national, Mr. Speaker. And I know these three whom we are approving today, they are experienced. These are people, these are national leaders who have served all kinds of Kenyans, because you know Nakuru, almost every community of this country lives in Nakuru. Even in Kiambu nowadays, because it's becoming an extension of Nairobi, many communities stay in Kiambu, Mr. Speaker. These are the kind of leaders we want to have in cabinet. And let me congratulate the president, Mr. Speaker, because in terms of diversity, I don't think there's a president who has gotten it right more than President Ruto, Mr. Speaker. Very few communities now are not on the table of the cabinet, Mr. Speaker. All communities are almost there, Mr. Speaker. Anywhere, any county of almost has a representative now in the cabinet, or in the executive for that matter. That is the kind of country we want to build. That is why ODM has sent experts to the broad-based. And we have more experts to send, Mr. Speaker. That's why we want to send more experts to government, so that diversity can be felt, that diversity can be achieved. But the ones who want to retire to their village in Kanyambora, those ones should let Kenyans do other things, Mr. Speaker. If you want to become the chief of Kanyambora, just go and become the chief of Kanyambora. Don't bring issues here. Oh, so-and-so abducted my son, so-and-so did. No. Just go and, that will be another Munyoro Center. Just go to Kanyambora Center and stay there, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Order, take your seat, Owen.